Welcome to episode 2 of the Road to Super Bowl 59. This is episode 2, of course, for the Philadelphia Eagles, your NFC champs. If you have not seen my first episode of Road to Super Bowl 59, I would consider go ahead and check that out, as I will be adding this to the playlist. Let's get to the Philadelphia Eagles Road to Super Bowl 59. We began on January 14, where the Eagles lost to the wildcard game to the Buccaneers 9-32. That was the moment that the Eagles, unfortunately, went from 10-1 to fall to 11-6 in a not so good way to end your season. We fast forward to next week, of course, made a big move to fire Sean Desai, Brian Johnson, and move on with Matt Patricia, and it was some big changes on that year. Then on January 27th, the Eagles hired Vic Fangio as their next defensive coordinator, and on February 5th, they hired Kellen Moore as their next offensive coordinator. To March 4th, and this one was sad. Jason Kelce retired after 13 years with the Philadelphia Eagles. Fast forward to 5 days after Jason Kelce announced his retirement. On March 10th, Fletcher Cox retired after 12 seasons with the Eagles, and a devastating blow. But then 3 days ago, Saquon Barkley signed with the Eagles on a 3-year, $37.75 million deal that would send him from out of the Giants and join the Philadelphia Eagles. Who else joined him? Zack Baun, who signed with the Eagles on a 1-year, $3.5 million deal, even though Zack Baun was a backup linebacker before he was named All-Pro linebacker. On April 25th, the Eagles drafted Quinyon Mitchell to pair up with, of course, with C.J. Gardner-Johnson in the mix, who was brought in 2 days or a day after they signed Saquon Barkley. But we get to pass to the draft day. Eagles drafted Quinyon Mitchell on that day, and then the next day they drafted Cooper DeJean. So they got the best corner and the second best corner in the NFL draft, and that was special there. We fast forward to September 9th, where is the Brazil game, Saquon Barkley's debut. Eagles won 34-29 over the Packers. Saquon Barkley scored 2 on the ground and 1 in the air. We go to October 13 to December 22nd, where they were from 2-2 to going 12-2. Here's how they ran to a 10-game winning streak. They beat Cleveland. They beat the Giants, Cincinnati, Jacksonville, Dallas, Washington, LA with the Rams, Baltimore, Carolina, and Pittsburgh. Some of these games were really huge games, of course. One of them was against the LA Rams and the Ravens, and Cincinnati. Cincinnati was led by, of course, the Eagles defense stepping up against Joe Burrow. Saquon Barkley ran over against the Rams, and a team effort against the Baltimore Ravens. We go to December 29th, where the Eagles clinched the NFC East Division 41-7 over the Cowboys, but also Saquon Barkley ran for 2,005 rushing yards, making sure that it is 100 yards short away to breaking the Eric Dickerson record. Unfortunately, it did not happen. Then we go to the playoffs, January 12th to January 26th, where they won all 3 games to go back to the Super Bowl for the second time in the last 3 years, knocking off the Packers, who were banged up in injuries, knocking the Rams out in a tight game, and then blowing the Washington Commanders 55-burger win. And that's the road. But here is the season stats for the Philadelphia Eagles. So the stats for the Eagles, season stats, this is impressive. They're 7th in points per game, 27.2. 8th in total yards per game, 367.2. However, they're 29th in passing yards per game, 187.9. But this is why this Eagles team is so good. They are 2nd in rushing yards per game, 179.3 yards. 3rd in time of possession per game, 32 minutes and 22 seconds. 2nd in points against per game, 17.8, and this is on the defense. Here is where the defense comes in, and this is why they're the #1 defense against the pass. They're #1. They're 1st in total yards against per game, 278.35. They're 1st in passing yards against per game, 174 to 18.18. They're 10th in rushing yards against per game, 104.18. They're 13 in sacks and with 41, and 12th in interceptions with 13. The players to watch. We're going to be expecting to hear these names. There's a lot of big names that we're going to keep an eye on. But here's what I got here. Jalen Hurts, we're expecting him to have an MVP game, of course, against the Chiefs defense. All eyes on Saquon Barkley, who is looking to win his first Super Bowl as a member of the Eagles. Y'all know A.J. Brown really well. He's one of the best man-on-man wide receivers to go up against. Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, Jalen Carter, Zach Bond, Darius Slayton, Cooper DeJean. Here's why I add Cooper DeJean. I think he's going to have a real good challenge against Travis Kelce. And I did say yesterday, the X Factor, also Noah Gray. Jake Elliott, even if it comes down to a field goal, Jake Elliott. The X Factors. I'm going to give it to the Eagles O-line. Here are the names. Jordan Mailata at left tackle. Leonard Dickerson, left guard. Cam Jerkins, who stepped up for Jason Kelce in a phenomenal year at center. Mekhi Becton, who they brought in free agency, playing right guard. And Lane Johnson on right tackle. Why am I saying the Eagles O-line is going to be an X factor? Because they're going to go up against Chris Jones and George Karlaftis. So that gets you the real of why this is one of those X factor games. Here are the players we can hear. Noah Smith Jr., he had 4 sacks, but when it's 4th down, he would be coming after Mahomes or some other quarterbacks and try to end the game. Brandon Graham, now here's what I'm told. They did announce last week that he did open a 21-day window, so we are not sure if he'll play. But if he does play, Brandon Graham is my X factor. Quinyon Mitchell, first-round corner in his first Super Bowl. I think he's going to have to step up against either DeAndre Hopkins or Hollywood Brown or Xavier Worthy. Oren Burks, who is stepping up for Nakobe Dean, is trying to make his name in that Super Bowl. And then finally, the Eagles' defensive backs, which is safeties and free safeties. Reed Blankenship, again, matching up with Kelce and Noah Gray. And C.J. Gardner-Johnson, who's back with the Eagles. Remember, he knows this Chiefs team 2 years ago. He's played in the Super Bowl there. And now he's going to get another shot against 87 and 83. Eagles are seeking to win their 2nd Super Bowl title in 8 years. The last time they've won it was 2017 when Nick Foles pulled that rabbit out of his hat and say, Philly special. That is it for episode number 2. Next episode will be a question mark there. Why? It's just the beginning. So I am expecting to do our 3rd episode will be New Orleans. Yes, New Orleans is hosting the Super Bowl, but we want to figure out why is New Orleans meant to host Super Bowl 59. That's episode 3. If you have not seen, again, the first episode when I talk about the Kansas City Chiefs. Go ahead and check that out. Again, hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, hit that notification bell, and comment down below if I did miss something else about this Eagles team. And again, the road to Super Bowl continues on episode 3 tomorrow. We'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.